When you hear the word village, what do you picture? Mud houses, cows, a peaceful life that is somehow more real than the city? That image has not changed in 50 years. For some people, the village is still the real India, where people are honest, hardworking, close to nature. For others, it is the opposite, a place of poverty, caste, and backward thinking. The funny thing is, both sides treat the village like it is frozen in time. They think it is something that used to exist. But here is what will surprise you: more people live in India's villages today than ever before. So, if the villages are full, why don't we hear about them anymore? When was the last time you heard a politician talking about villages or saw an ad that proudly said made in a village? Something has changed. The people are still there, but the idea of the village has disappeared. And that's exactly what we are going to talk about through the work of sociologist Surinder Jodhka, who has spent decades studying India's villages. Jodhka says most of us see the village through two stories. The first is the romantic story. This is the Gandhian one. The village as a moral community. People living simply, helping each other, living in harmony with nature. A lot of environmentalists and urban activists still love this idea. The second is the development story. In this one, the village is the problem: poor, uneducated, full of old customs that hold India back. The future lies in cities, factories, English schools, and glass buildings. These two stories sound opposite, right? Both the stories assume that the village belongs to the past. The romantic wants to preserve it, the developmentalist wants to escape it. Neither actually sees what is happening inside it. New middle class set the tone for what progress means. City life became the dream. Private schools, English, jobs in technology sector, that was success. The village became the place you leave behind. When young people in villages started thinking that way, a successful person was someone who had left for the city. And that is how the urban middle class, even though it is a minority, came to define the national imagination. The rural stayed big in numbers, but small in respect. Now, here is the funny part. Everyone says India is urbanizing fast. True, but not the way you think. 100 years ago, about 10% of Indians lived in cities. By 2011, it was around 31%. But the rural population did not shrink, it quadrupled from about 200 million to more than 800 million. Even the number of villages went up. So, what is dying exactly? Not people, not settlements. What is dying is our imagination of the village as something that matters. We stopped seeing it as part of the country's future. The old idea of a quiet, self sufficient village has never been true. People have always moved for work and trade. Villages were never isolated bubbles. Today, that movement is faster. A rural guy might spend the weekdays on a construction site in Gurugram, send money home, and record reels on his phone on Sundays. Rural people's lives cut across rural and urban lines every single day. The rural world is not static, it is changing, mixing, adjusting. The problem is our language has not caught up. Jodhka says we need to stop thinking that villages automatically become towns and towns become cities. That is not how it works. Villages and cities are connected in messy ways. People move between them daily, seasonally, even permanently. Money flows both ways. Culture flows both ways too. Some villages near big cities have turned into property house. Some are semi industrial. Some survive on government work and migration. There is no single quote unquote Indian village. There are many kinds of village, what Jodhka calls plural rurals. In short, the rural is not a leftover from the past. It is just another way of being modern. Remember the farmers' protest in 2020? That was the rural world saying, we are still here and we understand power. They debated laws, read fine print, organized online. These were not helpless peasants from some old textbook. They were citizens making political arguments, and that is the part we often miss. No, the village is not dead. What is dead is the lazy idea of the village, the one that saw it as either sacred or useless. Villages today are full of contradictions, connected, restless, half urban, half rural, but they are alive. Jodhka's main point is simple. If we keep treating the rural as something that needs to catch up, we will never see what it is already doing. Maybe it's time to stop asking when the village will disappear and start asking what it is quietly becoming. Thank you.